why isn't Tikkun Chatzos encouraged in our day and age?
The short answer is because we're not holding on the level of Tikkun Chatzos. Tikkun Chatzos is in Shulchan Aruch, and of course it's in Sifrei Kabbalah. But there are things in Yiddishkeit that are for Yechidei Sgula, that are for special people. There are people who do Chatzos today, but they do it privately in their own homes. They don't make a big deal out of it. They're Yechidei Sgula. Not that long ago, a few hundred years ago, Tikkun Chatzos was done in Shul with a minyan. Imagine that. Jews came to Shul in the middle of the night, put ash on their head, and they cried for the Churban. They were on a much higher level. They were on a much holier level, a much purer level. As time passed, Tikkun Chatzos became realistically something which was done by few rather than by many. And at a certain point, it's hard to know how these things transition. It was decided to do it secretly. In other words, once upon a time, Yidden got up in the middle of the night, they went to the cry for the Churban. And of course, how does Tikkun Chatzos work? You went to sleep at dusk. You got up at midnight. You cried for the Beis HaMikdash. You didn't go back to sleep. You stayed up a whole night and learned Torah. And the whole idea was that the Chatzos, we can have it actually in this Maimed, the Chatzos was done with bitterness, but you wanted to daven in the morning with joy. So you had to separate the bitterness from the joy. So you would learn Torah to raise your spirits, and you went into Shachris, and Davedas Atfila, Ein Eimdem Lehispalel Al Mitoch Simcha. So I don't know if there was an official point at which Gedolei Yisrael said no more. In other words, they said, stay home, sleep, don't come to Chatzos. Or it sort of happened by itself. And the Gedolei Yisrael allowed it to happen. And said, rather than protesting it and saying, where were you, how come you didn't come, they let it dissipate. But certainly, whether it happened officially or unofficially, at this point, the Torah of Tikkun Chatzos is that if you want to do Tikkun Chatzos, you really need a mashpia, a rav, a rebbe, to permit you to do it, because we're not holding by it. And when people undertake to do things which are not in their madrege, it's counterproductive. It backfires. It's like uncontrollable infinity that we learned about in the Maimed. But Tzadikim and Gedolei Yisrael and Yechidei Sgula did and continue to do Tikkun Chatzos. We know, for example, the Rabbi obviously did Tikkun Chatzos. There's a rumor that when the Frierdiker Rebbe, when the previous Rebbe was describing the Rebbe to Chassidim, when they went to pick him up at the ship, one expression is, I heard that the Rebbe said, Pravat alle Nacht Chatzos, that every night is Chatzos. I once heard also that the Frierdiker Rebbe said, Zayin Chatzos has got an andere. He has a different kind of Chatzos. Now what does it mean that Frierdiker Rebbe should say about our Rebbe, that Zayin Chatzos has got an andere? You could say that it means that he does Chatzos better than most people. I would like to say, Zayin Chatzos has got an andere, instead of Chatzos meaning crying for the Churban, his Chatzos is anticipating the Gula Amitis Vashlema. I also heard from people, and I don't know how true this is, that the Rebbe had Yechidus that started at 8 o'clock at night and went sometimes till the morning. And he didn't stop. So the Rebbe obviously did not do Chatzos on those nights when he had Yechidus, however the Rebbe arranged it. But I heard from people that whoever happened to be in his room at the moments of midnight, the Rebbe would find a way of weaving the Beis HaMikdash into the conversation. In other words, he would prav Chatzos in the midst of whatever else he was doing, as the Rebbe only is capable of doing. But that's the answer to the question. Chatzos was practiced. It used to be a very formal thing, like going to shul to daven shachris, mincha, ma'ariv, Chatzos. Then it became for Yechidei Sgula, and now it's bat snei aleches. It's a very secret and private thing.